Hello and welcome to Indus News. Live from Islamabad, I'm Naila Shuja and these are the headlines. India's propaganda campaign against Pakistan continues to be exposed after the revelations by EU Disinfo Lab. In a confessional statement, one of India's key instruments, Mehdi Shah, revealed how India used him to propagate anti-Pakistan narrative in Gilgit-Baltistan. Shah also disclosed international campaigning by foreign elements to globally defame Pakistan. U.S. President Joe Biden has threatened to reinstate sanctions on Myanmar after the country's military seized power. In a statement, Biden said that the United States will work with its regional and global partners for the restoration of democracy. Myanmar's army detained Aung San Suu Kyi and other elected leaders, accusing Suu Kyi's party of fraud over its election win. A series of explosions has rocked Afghanistan's capital city of Kabul, leaving 3 people dead and wounding 7 others. Police said all 3 blasts were caused by a small magnetic device known as sticky bombs. No group has claimed responsibility for the blast, while the Taliban have rejected their involvement. Russia has warned the European Union against linking bilateral ties to the case of opposition politician Alexei Navalny. The Kremlin said it would respond to any harsh criticism over the matter from the European bloc. Meanwhile, Moscow police detained over 100 people as a court convened to consider jailing Navalny for up to 3.5 years. COVID-19 is once again surging in Latin America, where Brazil and Mexico have both reported more than 500 deaths overnight. Statistics show that January was the deadliest month for the United States so far, with over 94,000 deaths. In Pakistan, 63 people have died and over 1,200 tested positive overnight, while the death toll has crossed 11,700. Globally, the virus has claimed more than 2.23 million lives and infected over 103.3 million people so far. And in cricket, Australia have postponed their tour of South Africa because of the coronavirus pandemic. Australian players were scheduled to fly out this month for a 3-match test series in March. For more news and details, stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. India's propaganda campaign against Pakistan continues to be exposed after the revelations by the EU Disinfo Lab. In a confessional statement, one of India's key instruments, Mehdi Shah, revealed how India used him to propagate anti-Pakistan narrative in Gilgit-Baltistan. Mehdi Shah disclosed international campaigning by foreign elements to globally defame Pakistan. He revealed how the central character of the EU Disinfo Lab's investigation, Dr. Amjad Ayub Mirza, provokes the people of Gilgit-Baltistan against Pakistan. He said Mirza worked under the cover for National Equality Party, while his accomplice Shaukat Kashmiri operated through United Kashmir People's National Party. Shah said that he was given writing against narratives against Pakistan's military to voice, which was then made viral over social media. He was also promised a meeting with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. A series of explosions has rocked Afghanistan's capital city of Kabul, leaving 3 people dead and wounding 7 others. Police said all 3 blasts were caused by a small magnetic device known as sticky bombs. Police said one blast hit an SUV and killed 2 people, including a head of an NGO. Other 2 explosions targeted a jeep of the anti-narcotics force and a civilian vehicle. No group has claimed responsibility for the blasts, while the Taliban have rejected their involvement. Meanwhile, in the eastern city of Jalalabad, 1 soldier was killed and 2 injured in an explosion targeting their vehicle. The Taliban say the Doha Accord is a good framework and opportunity for peace in Afghanistan. It comes as Washington plans to review the Doha Agreement, which previous U.S. administration signed with the Taliban. Taliban's negotiating team member Sohail Shaheen said it is the responsibility of all to seize this opportunity for the good of the people and for the solution of the problem. The statement followed a U.S. watchdog's accusation that the Taliban attacks in Kabul are on the rise. Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction reported that the proportion of casualties caused by IED blast increased by nearly 17% this quarter. But it added casualties across Afghanistan in the last quarter of 2020 decreased by 14%. In India, more than 40 farmer unions have ruled out talks with the center until the police and government stop harassing them. Earlier, the police erected walls and planted spikes at the Delhi border to restrict the movement of farmers agitating against the new farm laws. Denouncing the move, the opposition's Priyanka Gandhi called it a declaration of war with the farmers. The protesting farmers have also announced a 3-hour nationwide wheel jam strike on the 6th of February. Farm unions say the demonstration is being held against the internet ban at the protest venues. They also rejected the Narendra Modi government's budget and said that the center has internationally ignored the farmers. Iran's foreign minister says that the European Union can help synchronize moves by Tehran and Washington to return to the 2015 nuclear deal. Javad Zarif says EU Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell could put his hat on as a coordinator for the joint commission of the deal. In an interview, Zarif said that the Biden administration has a limited window of opportunity to re-enter the deal. Zarif also defended Tehran scaling back from its JCPOA commitments. The foreign minister said if Iran wanted to build a nuclear weapon, it could have done so some time ago. He added, but Tehran decided weapons will not augment security and are in contradiction to the country's ideological views. Zarif also said 8,000 pounds of enriched uranium can go back to the previous amount in less than a day if the United States lifts the sanctions. U.S. President Joe Biden has threatened to restore sanctions on Myanmar after a military coup. The curbs were eased recently after the country began emerging from a decades-long military dictatorship. In a statement, Biden said that the United States will work with its regional and global partners for the restoration of democracy. He said that the force should never seek to overrule the will of the people or attempt to erase the outcome of a credible election. Meanwhile, diplomats say that the United Nations Security Council is due to meet later today to discuss the issue. Phone and internet connections have been restored in Yangon, while banks have reopened. The coup followed a landslide win for Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy in November elections. China says it is ready to work with the United States to move the relationship forward with mutual respect and cooperation. China's senior foreign policy official called on both countries to put the relations back on a constructive and productive track. In a virtual conference, Yang Yiqi urged the United States to stop interfering in the issues regarding China's territorial integrity. He called on new U.S. administration to not abuse the concept of national security in trade. The diplomat said Beijing hopes Washington will rise above the outdated mentality of zero-sum and major power rivalry. He suggested U.S. firms could gain from an estimated $22 trillion worth of exports to China in the coming decade. Russia has warned the European Union against the linking of bilateral ties to the case of the opposition politician Alexei Navalny. The Kremlin said that it would respond to any kind of harsh criticism over the matter from the European bloc. The Foreign Ministry said that the presence of foreign diplomats during Navalny's hearing is evidence of Western meddling in Moscow's affairs. The Kremlin said Moscow would not be lectured on the matter by Brussels. EU's top diplomat Joseph Borrell is due to visit Moscow on the 4th of February. Meanwhile, Moscow police has detained over 200 people as a court convened to consider jailing Navalny up to 3.5 years. Turkey has criticized Kosovo's commitment to open its Israeli embassy in Jerusalem. This comes as Kosovo and Israel officially established diplomatic relations. In a statement, a foreign ministry spokesperson said that the step taken by Kosovo will harm the Palestinian cause. The spokesperson said that the move will violate the United Nations resolutions and international law. Israel has approved Kosovo's official request to open an embassy in Jerusalem. Turkey says it has neutralized 3 militants of the Kurdistan Workers' Party in northern Syria and near the southern border. It says that the militants attempted to infiltrate the area under its anti-terrorism operation, Peace, Spring, and Euphrates Shield. The National Defense Ministry said that the militants were gunned down after they fired at the Turkish troops. Separately, officials said Ankara's forces seized 15 air rifles during a search and operations in the Van and Hatay border lines. Ankara holds the Kurdistan Workers' Party responsible for the deaths of some 40,000 people in a 30-year conflict. The United States has condemned the terrorist attacks in Syria, which claimed the lives of at least 20 civilians over the weekend. The State Department says that the United States is deeply alarmed by the frequency of such attacks in the recent months. In a statement, the department said those responsible for perpetrating the violence should be brought to justice. It added that their actions endanger the Syrian people and threaten to destabilize the region further. Earlier on Saturday, at least 6 people, including 3 children, were killed in the explosive Laden vehicle that blew up in Syria's Afrin town. On Sunday, 10 people, including children, were killed and 24 others were wounded in a terrorist attack in the northern towns of Al-Babab and Azaz. COVID-19 is once again surging in Latin America, where Brazil and Mexico have both reported more than 500 deaths overnight. Globally, the virus has claimed more than 2.23 million lives and infected over 103.3 million people so far. Statistics show that January was the deadliest month for the United States so far, with over 94,000 deaths. Japan says the European Union export curbs on COVID-19 vaccines are having an impact on the supplies to the country. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has defended the EU's vaccine drive, saying that they were good reasons for the slow start. Meanwhile, China has reported 30 new infections, down from 42 cases a day earlier. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom has expressed some level of relief over the reduction in the rate of the new cases worldwide. In Pakistan, another 63 people have lost their lives to COVID-19 overnight. This has pushed the death toll to 11,746. The Health Ministry says 1,220 new cases were detected in the past 24 hours. The nationwide tally of cases has crossed 547,000, out of which more than 502,000 people have recovered. There are more than 33,000 active COVID-19 cases in the country. Meanwhile, Pakistan is all set to begin the vaccination drive tomorrow after the arrival of 500,000 doses from China. U.S. President Joe Biden has so far failed to reach an agreement with Senate Republicans on his $1.9 trillion COVID relief package. The Republicans met Biden in the Oval Office and proposed a $618 billion aid proposal. In a statement, the White House said that Biden said that he will not settle for a package that fails to meet the moment. He told senators their scaled-down package did not address the urgent issues in many areas. Meanwhile, Republican Senator Susan Collins, who led the 8-member delegation, said that they had productive discussions.
It was a very good exchange of views. I wouldn't say that we came together on a package tonight. No one expected that in a 2-hour meeting. But what we did agree to do is to follow up and talk further at the staff level and amongst ourselves and with the President and Vice President on how we can continue to work together on this very important issue.
Now, in the United States of New York, activists protest against police officers who were captured on video pepper spraying a 9-year-old girl in Rochester. Officers say they were responding to a family disturbance call, and the girl indicated she wanted to kill herself and her mom. A police body cam video was released that showed the officers handcuffing and pepper spraying the girl, who appeared to be black. The city said that the officers involved in the incident have been suspended until a police investigation is concluded. Rochester Mayor Lovely Warren says that state law and union contract prevents her from taking more immediate and serious action. Following the announcement, Black Lives Matter protesters took to the streets against police brutality. It's now time for a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, in Indonesia, the air accident investigator has sent 5 components of the crashed Sriwijaya air jet to the U.S. and Britain for examination. The agency said that the auto throttle that controls the engine power was also sent to find out why its parameter shifted. National Transportation Safety Committee Chief Sorijanto Tahajono said that a maritime search is ongoing for the cockpit voice recorder's memory unit. He said that it would help explain any human factors behind the crash. Meanwhile, the plane's flight data recorder has been found and read by investigators. The 26-year-old Boeing jet crashed into the Java Sea shortly after takeoff from Jakarta on the 9th of January, killing all 62 people on board. Turkey's first self-driving bus has taken to the streets for a test drive. The bus carried President Recep Tayyip Erdogan to the presidential palace for a cabinet meeting. Erdogan and his officials watched as the steering vehicle turned of its own. Designed by Turkish engineers, the vehicle has a range of 300 kilometers with a capacity of 50 passengers. Speaking at a ceremony after the ride, Erdogan said that the vehicle is a part of Ankara's clean energy initiative.
These are initial steps for clean energy because the world is tending towards clean energy. This is happening at a time when climate change is on the agenda. They are asking us why we don't take any steps against climate change. And I tell them, when the United States take a step against climate change, we will follow.
A Pakistan Navy ship paid a visit to Djibouti and Sudan as a part of its overseas deployment to the African region. The Navy mission handed over food aid to local authorities and later took part in drills with the Sudanese Navy. The two countries paid tribute to Pakistan for the provision of necessary aid. The ship will next visit Kenya and Niger to deliver humanitarian assistance. In-person learning has been one of the casualties of the coronavirus pandemic. So now schools in the United States, especially the state of Delaware, are fighting the coronavirus with UV disinfecting robots. More in this report.
With many parents and students across the U.S. longing for a return to in-person learning after the coronavirus pandemic forced classes online, a China-based robotics company thinks it has the answer. The company has introduced disinfecting robots that use ultraviolet light to kill viruses in classrooms and school common areas.
Robot is working. Please keep away.
ADABOT is 2 robots, one autonomous and one stationary. It utilizes a wavelength of UV light, also known as UVC, to inactivate pathogens. It basically scrambles the DNA and RNA of pathogens and disallowing it from replicating.
UV Tech says the UVC light emitted by the robots is 99.9% effective against the virus. 4 robots were recently deployed in 2 schools in Delaware as part of a pilot project to measure cost efficiency and disinfection rates.
Prepare for disinfection. Please leave and stay away.
We may never get to back to normal, but we need to come up with some sort of a new normal where our students are going to have what they need so that they can be successful. And we need to make sure that our teachers and our staff feel comfortable in the buildings if we're going to bring students back.
UVC light can be harmful to humans, so the company comes with a warning sign to be placed outside the room that shuts down the system if it detects any movement. It also has a camera and sensor on the robot itself, which will switch it off if someone walks past a sign and enters a space it is cleaning. The stationary robot costs $20,000 and the autonomous version is $40,000.
In Rome, the sounds of classical music echoed around an almost empty Colosseum. This came after a concert took place that organizers wish will be a sign of hope for a new beginning. The relaxation of COVID-19 restrictions across Italy has allowed the Colosseum and other museums to open. This report has all the details.
There is nothing that exemplifies ancient Rome quite like the Colosseum. Constructed between 70 CE and 80 CE, this iconic piece of Roman architecture is a symbol of Italian culture. But due to the pandemic, the activities came to a standstill until students from a conservatory played a classical selection inside the structure.
It's very emotional because there haven't been many concerts during this time. So to be here on the first day of the reopening of the Colosseum is a pleasure and an honor.
The Colosseum has witnessed many historic events in human history, the last of which is the outbreak that killed over 88,000 in Italy. Understandably, the artists were taken aback after being able to perform inside it.
We are very emotional and very grateful for this occasion. Also because I am Roman, born and raised here, and here is the symbol of my city.
Built by the Roman Emperor Vespasian, the amphitheater could seat 50,000 spectators. Though only a few people had the privilege of listening to the concert, the hope of a new start is sure to reinvigorate Italians.
The U.S. state of New Jersey has declared a state emergency after a massive storm plummeted the East Coast. New York State has also issued orders for most areas with flights grounded and vaccination sites shuttered. New Jersey and Pennsylvania are now buried under 48 centimeters of snow, while New York by a 43-centimeter thick snow blanket. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says that the situation is becoming life-threatening with every passing hour. The United States National Weather Service has forecast winds of up to 80 kilometers per hour for several days, creating a blinding snowstorm. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio has issued an order restricting non-essential travel and shutting down schools. European stock markets are trading higher. Investors are rallying to the positive sentiment created by the gains in Asian markets and Wall Street overnight. The CAC 40 in Paris is leading the gains, rising close to 2%. European stock 600, Frankfurt's DAX, and Italy's FTSE MIB have all added over 1%. London's FTSE 100 has also gained over 0.5%. Earlier, all Asian mail bourses also traded higher. It's now time to take a look at the weather around the world. For the latest news updates, you can follow us on our social media at indus.news.